All the hits. Bob 93.3, Gare The Spyder Stevens in studio with Nicholas Sparks. How are you, my friend?
I am doing great, thanks.
How was the ride from New Bern to New Bern?
Yeah, not too bad. I've had worse drives.
Very good. All right, so let's jump right into your new book, which my mom was thrilled to find out, by the way, that a new book is out. She's loaned out all of her books to her sister-in-law, and she's stoked about the new book. So The Longest Ride is set to release coming up, the 17th?
Yeah, September 17th. We're excited about it.
And there is going to be a huge book signing at 8 a.m. until 6. That's a long day for you.
Yeah, that is, and that's hopefully I can get through everyone. I'm going to have to work pretty fast to get through everyone, and I'm hopeful that I'll be able to pull it off.
We'll get into the actual book itself and the content, but first I'm going to go ahead and tell everybody that we're going to be doing this at a different location this year. This is your first time at Target, correct?
That is, yes. You want to know why?
Why?
Well, I don't know why. It's we have a great association with Target. My agent and I, we have a great association with Walmart, Books A Million. And what we do is we do our best to vary our locations with every tour. So we do try to hit every major chain, and we try to give people options on where do you want the Walmart signing or this and that. And Target wanted the New Bern signing. We also have other issues like parking, and so it's really tough to get a venue that has enough parking for my events.
Okay, very good. All right, so the story itself, I've only got a few pages in. What I've gathered that it involves a man who's been in an automobile accident.
Yes, that would be Ira.
And his wife, who is deceased,
right,
comes back in some form or fashion supernaturally to help him through this, maybe?
Sure, he imagines her. It's a dual love story. It's a story of Ira and Ruth. And so it opens with Ira, and he's in a car accident, and he's an old man, and he imagines his wife beside him, and he makes it very clear that she's passed away. It's not necessarily a ghost. He's I guess, drifting in and out due to his injuries, and he's imagining his wife right there. And you pretty much learn the story of Ira and Ruth, and theirs is a love story that spans decades and starts in the 1930s and goes all the way through the present day. And of course, it's a little bit different than my other novels in that it's not only one love story. There's also the story of Luke and Sophia. Sophia, she's a sorority girl. She's from Wake Forest. She's a senior art history major, and she falls in love with a guy named Luke who works at the family ranch, and he happens to be a professional bull rider. And part of the fun of the novel is to figure out how on earth the story of Ira and Ruth intersect with the story of Luke and Sophia, and of course, what happens in the end.
Well, that kind of explains the cover right here a little bit with the horse. I was going to ask you about that as well. Okay, so have you ever been into an automobile accident that was kind of a massive accident yourself?
I have not. No, I've been in, could have been a much more massive one, but not anything like what poor Ira's been through.
Okay, so this coming to Ira, is this something that leads you to believe in any kind of supernatural yourself?
No, I think what you believe is that this is a guy who loved his wife, and he misses her very much, and he knows she's gone, and he's drifting in and out of consciousness from the injuries associated with his accident, and how does he get through? The same way he got through everything in his life, with his wife by his side, except that she's not there. So he's got to imagine her there and the things she would say.
Well, very good. So you anticipate this making it to the big screen anytime?
Already have the screenwriter working on it.
Oh, really?
Already have the screenwriter. It's supposed to come out in theaters February 2015.
So I will ask you, you've had many books and many have hit the screen. What is your favorite book you have written thus far?
Obviously, it's the latest one, The Longest Ride.
Very good.
The next year, it'll probably be the latest one. What I've tried to do is to really vary the novels. There are certain themes that tend to recur, or I guess elements that tend to recur. But other than that, I've tried to make the novels as different as I possibly can, whether in voice or structure or concept or ages of the characters and dilemmas they face. And so there's always something new. For instance, in The Longest Ride, it's this dual love story. In the novels that I'm working on now, there's, again, new elements, and we'll see how it all works.
Is this going to be something I can actually complete or actually see? Let me rephrase that. Is this something I can watch with a female and not need tissues myself?
Well, it's a funny thing about my novels. I think that really goes to the to the viewer or the reader, right? I mean, for instance, I didn't cry when I watched The Notebook, but lots of people.
Oh man!
But of course, I had written the novel. I'd seen it filmed, but I'm like, gosh, I hope that works. I guess it did.
That's the only problem with your novels, there, Nicholas Sparks, and movies, that I cannot really watch them around women and look like a man.
Yeah,
to be honest with you,
I mean, they can get you a little choked up. Right?
Definitely. Okay, so. With the books, there's a couple things I wanted to come off with the movies as well. And the movies that I find amazing is that you have not done any cameos in your movies yet, have you?
No, not at all. My kids have, but I have not.
Oh, they have?
Yeah, my kids have, but not me.
Okay, because I know. For instance, Stephen King does a cameo in pretty much all of his movies. Yeah. Is this something that interests you at all to do?
Not at all.
No.
No, I'm not an actor, and I think that what that does is it makes more people recognize you, and I kind of
like your privacy.
A little bit of anonymity. And granted, there's a lot of people who do recognize me, but I think if I went on a film, there would be even more. And I like to be able to take my kids to Disney World, and if you're not expecting to see me, perhaps you wouldn't necessarily recognize me, or at least maybe here in New Bern people would, because I'm around here all the time. But elsewhere, that seems to be how it holds up.
I get that. So your kids interested in acting? They interested in writing books? What do your kids want to do? I know you have a bunch of them.
Yeah. I don't know. They will choose their own paths just like I did. And if they'd like to be a writer, they're all intelligent. I think they could probably master the craft if they put the work in to do so. They all love to read, and they like good stories. So we'll see. Do I expect that any of them will become a writer? No. I mean, it's hard to be a writer, to be quite frank. So, and they see that side too. And what will they do? Who knows? They will choose their own paths just like I did.
Do you ever think you'll branch out and do something other than like the love stories? You think you'll go into something like horror, since we were talking about Stephen King a bit? Something a little bit different, supernatural? I know you're kind of leading that way a little bit here, but this is more just memories, I guess.
Yeah, it's more memories. Maybe in a different medium, I think. I have a television production company. I'm doing a female-centered Western set in 1864. We're going into filming for that November 4th, so that'll be my first television show. And then I've got some more television shows coming up at other networks. And they're all different than what I traditionally do in my novel world. So I'm happy exploring other ideas or themes or genres, perhaps in a different medium. But I'm happy with the kind of novels that I write. Okay,
so I'm going to go before you were writing books. I know that from what I've heard from one of our local celebrities here in town, Skip Waters, who says he knows you,
yes.
Says you guys have been friends for a while, and that you were a pharmaceutical rep.
Yes, I was.
So how did you go from pharmaceutical rep to writing books, or was this something you were doing while you were doing that as well?
I was doing it while. It was 1994, and we had a second child, and he wasn't a very good sleeper, and so my wife was going to bed early and didn't have anything else to do from 9 to midnight, either watch TV alone or work on a novel. So I did, and over 6 months, I ended up writing The Notebook, and I did that while I was here in New Bern, and then I got a job transfer which took me to Greenville, which is where I was living when the novel was published, but the novel was actually written here in this town.
Okay, all right, very good. So, again, sticking back with the older days, I like to find out where people came from. And, for example, I interviewed someone a while back, and I was asking them the question of what is it that they've done that has been the most humbling work experience. So something you did, it might be embarrassing now. I used to shovel manure at my uncle's farm for a few bucks here and there. Is there any aspect of your life where you did work that not necessarily was beneath you, but things that you can't believe you did now?
No, I mean, I was young, right? So I washed dishes in a restaurant. I sold dental products by phone. I tried to start my own business. I mean, I did a lot of different things once I got out of college. I spent 3 years really exploring until I became a pharmaceutical rep. But look, I've done landscaping. I've I helped put on roofs. There's been a lot. It's life, right? We all have to learn what we like, and I think part of learning what you like is to try a lot of different things.
Okay. What is the next anticipated film to come to the big screen?
That would be The Best of Me. We have the screenplay's done, the director's attached. We're in the final stages of casting right now, and hopefully that'll go into production in February. And then The Longest Ride, if all goes well, will hopefully go into production sometime in the summer, and then after that, The Choice. So I have 3 on tap probably they're in various stages. So the best of me, the longest ride, and then the choice.
Now, we discussed the last time I was here, this may remind you of who I am. We sat out there and we were just kind of having a chat, and I was talking about how, I guess, ADHD I am, and how I couldn't believe how you could write a book so fast. And you told me something surprising about how much time you actually spend writing per day.
Yeah, it's 5 to 6 hours, right? It's 5 to 6 hours. It's 2,000 words. Sometimes that takes 3 hours. Sometimes it can take 8 or 10 hours. Sometimes I can work 12 hours and only get 1,500 words done. But usually, let's say on average, 5 to 6 hours. And I do that 3 or 4 days a week. And little by little, a novel is complete. At that rate, it's usually about 5.5 to 6 months to finish a novel.
It just seems like you release one every day. For us, not for you, of course. You're doing the work.
No, I mean, it's one a year, and I'm satisfied with that. I took last year off, but for the most part, it's about one a year, and that's a pace that seems reasonable at the present time. It keeps me very busy because I do have other things going on with the films and television and my foundation and the school and my children and my family. So it's a busy life, and sometimes it seems like it's hard to squeeze in time to write, but it's what I do, and I somehow find a way to get it done.
Tell us about the foundation.
Foundation's awesome. Foundation, Nicholas Sparks Foundation, we're really set out to transform education through I guess curriculum development and leadership training. We do a lot of original things at the Epiphany School of Global Studies, and while certainly the foundation can't fund and build schools all over the country, what we can do is to show how you really teach 21st century skills in the classroom and how you really build a truly global program, even in the rural South. So if we can do it here, you can do it anywhere. And most importantly, how do you do those things in a cost-effective manner? There's so much you can do that's so expensive, and we've been around for 8 years, and what basically the foundation is committed to is spreading the word on how to really build a wonderful 21st century school on a budget, and that's something that people don't know how to do, and it's a work in progress. We probably have about 5 years until all of the elements will be funded through the foundation so that we can really get all of this information out there. But once that information's out there, schools are going to be able to do what we do without making the mistakes that we made.
That's awesome.
And to me, that's the most important thing. You learn by watching how other people do it. And you might say, hey, we like the language immersion program, or we really like the service-oriented global travel that they do, when they're helping to build schools in Guatemala, which is what our freshmen do. You might like bits and pieces of whatever we do, but the point is, schools need to know how to do it. And that's what the foundation is committed to, spreading that word.
It's good to see the celebrity, as they like the quote, celebrity, that can go out and help people out as well. Of course, you have a bunch of children as well, and you've actually done a lot for the schools around here, I believe.
Sure, yeah.
The track, and
I coached out at the public high school, and I had kids who attended the public school, attended St. Paul's, attended my school, homeschooled. I'm kind of an equal opportunity educational person. I think it really comes down to the kid, and all kids are different, and one school might be great for one of your children but not so great for another, and I think that's okay. I think it's hard for students if everyone's thrown into exactly the same, if they don't have the opportunities to get what perhaps might be even more beneficial to them.
Okay, so speaking of children, as a child, what did you want to be when you grew up?
An Olympic gold medalist.
In what?
Running, 800, 1500, both maybe. That would have been awesome. Never made it.
I was on track. I tried to do that to letter. They didn't tell me you had to actually place the letter.
Yeah. And that's a dream. But of course, lots of kids dream of being a great athlete. And that was my dream. I went to college on a scholarship. And then over time I realized, I just didn't have it. I didn't have that extra step that really, the really, truly talented people had, and I got as much out of my running career as I possibly could, and I look back with few regrets because I know I took it about as far as it could be taken. I of course wish I could have been better, but not everyone can finish first.
Of course. All right, as far as fans are concerned, I hear about all the fans. Of course, you've seen the movie Misery. Have you ever had an experience of an overbearing fan, and what is the worst you've had with that?
Yeah, I've had some people. I've had some people that I've had to contact the local.
The crazies.
Yeah, I mean, I think that goes part and parcel with what I do.
So nothing specific that has happened that has just been, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened?
No, just bad phone calls and a feeling feeling of vulnerability and stress and threat.
Your next book. Maybe.
Well, I've done some.
You could do a book about it. Yeah.
I did Safe Haven, and also Stephen King. He did Misery. And
Exactly. Yeah.
Writer's World. That's the all-time topper.
I've got to be honest with you. I just actually purchased on DVD Safe Haven. I have not watched it yet. I'm waiting for a female.
Oh, yeah.
I felt like I need to have one around to watch that.
Sure.
So I have not actually seen or read that as to date.
You will enjoy it. I thought they did a great job on that film.
So I have some quick questions, and I'll let you go. I know you got some things to do today, including maybe writing your next book.
Yeah.
Favorite book that is not your own?
Well, that's so hard. I mean, favorite book. I really liked the trilogy by Justin Cronin. It started with The Passage, and then it went to the 12, and I'm waiting for the third book. I just thought he did an amazing work. I thought it was amazing piece of fiction writing. I just thought it was terrific.
Okay. Favorite film of all time?
Favorite film of all time. I think I'm going to go with Toy Story 3.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, I liked it.
Wow, okay. Favorite song?
Favorite song?
You can go with now or before.
Yeah, let's see.
Or group if it's easier.
I'm going to go with Mandy Moore's Only Hope.
Okay. Of course, Mandy Moore starred in a couple of your movies, or one of your movies.
Well, she was in a Watch
Yep.
and that was wonderful.
Okay. Favorite TV show?
Of all time?
Sure.
Seinfeld.
All right. That makes sense. How about favorite cartoon as a child?
Favorite cartoon as a child? I was a big fan of Scooby-Doo.
Were you?
Yeah.
First thing that comes to my mind is Muppet Babies or Smurfs, I suppose.
You're younger than I am. I had the original Scooby-Doos.
Did you now?
Yeah, they were great.
I have my E.T. doll. Let's see. Do you like karaoke?
Well, I've done it. I've actually sang.
So that was the question I had next. What is the song you like to sing when you sing karaoke?
Summer of '69.
Awesome song.
Yeah.
Bryan Adams.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good song to sing because if you sing low, the audience fills in for you. Because everyone knows the words.
Help me out here. Help me out.
All right.
Okay. Well, that's a good one. Do you collect anything?
Yes.
What do you collect?
I'd rather not say.
Okay. Fair enough. What is your best childhood memory?
Best childhood memory. Childhood memory.
We could expand that to the best memory to date in your life.
Oh, there's a lot of them. My son's first words, the birth of my children, my wedding day. As a child...
a personal moment.
Yeah. Just singing Happy Birthday to my sister and having her sing it back to me, that was something that meant a lot to my sister and I. We were born not the same year, but on the same day, so it was something that we shared.
Okay. All right. And what do you do for fun when you're not writing?
I work out and I read.
Okay.
And I travel, and that's about it.
Working out. I need to work on that myself. Let me see. Let's see. Favorite vacation spot since you travel?
I like exotic places that involve great things to see, great places to walk, and then great food and relaxation later. So, any of the, some place like, I don't know, going to Machu Picchu and Cusco and in Peru, that's a terrific experience. Or going to Brazil. I was just in Brazil last week and walking the Copacabana beach and experiencing that culture and having a great dinner afterwards while you're staying in a nice hotel. Those are all great things.
Okay. And as far as North Carolina, what would you prefer, the beach or the mountains?
I prefer the beach.
Okay.
But there's no right or wrong there. My wife would probably say the mountains.
Right, right. Weirdest thing you have worn for a costume party at Halloween?
I taped a bunch of tree branches to a green turtleneck T-shirt and black pants. I just went out and then I taped a bunch of condoms to these branches.
Please do tell.
I went as a rubber tree.
Okay, all right. That makes sense. That's creative.
I tried.
Very good, very good. Were they still wrapped is the question.
They were pretty much plucked free by all the...
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Can I borrow one of these?
Yeah, exactly.
Excuse me, can you come over here?
That was when I was in college.
I got you.
That's when I was in college.
All right, so what is your take on Miley Cyrus's twerk on the VMAs?
I consider Miley Cyrus a friend, and I support Miley Cyrus, and I think she's a 20-year-old, and she was great to me and my family. So
Right.
I have no opinion on it whatsoever, other than it did not change my opinion of her.
Okay.
I'm proud of her.
Fair enough. If you were stranded on an island, what are 3 things you would have to have with you besides your family, of course?
What 3 things? A library, so I could read. An never-ending stocked pantry of food. And then a really nice, comfortable bed.
Wow. Okay. That is probably the first time I've ever heard those 3 at all for an answer. All right, and the last one, do you want to live in New Bern forever, or do you see yourself moving?
No, I'm happy here in New Bern. It's home for me. My kids are happy here, and that isn't to say I won't travel more or spend a month here or there elsewhere, but I think New Bern will be our home for a long time.
Okay, so again, the brand new book, The Longest Ride, is going to be released on the 17th. That is a Tuesday, and there will be a long day of fun and signing from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Target on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in New Bern.
Yes, very excited. Can't wait.
Very good. Well, thanks so much for your time, Nicholas Sparks. We look forward to seeing even more of your works as time goes by.
Hey, thanks.